Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm delighted to welcome Jake. Hi, Jake. Hi, Vera. For our first joint webinar between AppFollow and Helpshift, where we'll be discussing everything that you need to know in order to retain your mobile app users and acquire even more users. So please feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar. Our speakers will be answering everything at the end. And we'll also have a few live polls, so please answer these as they come in. The session will be recorded and we'll be sharing the link just after the webinar this week. So let's start with a short introduction of our speakers. Jake, over to you.
Hey, good morning, or I guess good morning or good afternoon, depending where in the world you are. My name is Jake Peterson. I lead customer experience strategy here at Helpshift. If you haven't heard of Helpshift before, depending on how you heard about this webinar, Helpshift provides software designed to rid the world of bad customer service. Helpshift combines asynchronous web messaging, mobile and multi-channel messaging, intent-based AI, purpose-built microbots, and easy-to-use tools, ensuring brands can deliver better customer service. A little background on myself. I've been in customer service for many years now. I previously worked at companies and ran customer service teams at companies like Houzz, worked at and the incredible, exciting world of outsourcing at companies like TaskUs, and now here at Helpshift. So super excited to be here. Thanks.
Right. Hi everyone, my name is Vera Rapkin. I'm head of rating and reviews product at AppFollow. AppFollow is a platform for mobile developers to build their strategy and implement it. I'm glad to be here and glad to share some insights and hacks on how to build your reply to view strategy efficient and win for app stores.
Great, thank you very much. We'll also have a great demo later on from Matt Potts, our pre-sales engineering at Helpshift. So let's go to the next slide and let's start with a little contest that we have. We've been hiding little bots throughout the presentation. So if you spot some of those in the slides, feel free to write down the numbers of the slide and enter them in the event survey that we'll be sending after the webinar. It will be in the page where the recording is, in the bottom right corner in the bot that we've built.
Great. Hi again, everyone. So just a quick rundown on some of the topics we'll cover today. As you can tell, the theme of today's webinar is how customer service and app reviews go hand in hand. And both Vera and I will talk about how to achieve this through creating frictionless customer service, addressing app reviews, which together can help leverage customer insights. And just as Sarah said, Matt, who you will meet in a little bit, will give us a brief overview of Helpshift and showcase our integration with AppFollow. Again, just reiterating what Sarah said, we'll have some questions at the end for Q&A and would love to invite anyone here, if you haven't used Zoom's Q&A feature, there's a Q&A tool and we'll try and answer those at the end of the webinar. Great. As we start, you're probably wondering why customer service and app review management is so critical and important for mobile businesses. The old account management adage goes, it costs more to acquire a customer than to retain an existing customer. But many of us aren't sure or aren't taking this step over to app downloads and user reviews in the App Store. Contrary to popular belief, the key to mobile app success is retention, not acquisition. While initial downloads are impressive, to grow, brands need users to continue to use their apps. A company's original instinct is to often get more users, thousands or millions of users or downloads of their app, go viral on the App Store, hit the charts on whatever app store, if it's Google Play or iOS app Store. But acquisition is always the goal, but it's time to make the change to focusing on retention of app users. In fact, 52% of survey respondents recently said that they will delete or forget an app that they've downloaded when they find issues or bugs. And that's a loss, obviously, of half of your potential user base. And they're that unforgiving. But when app users do encounter problems, those pesky bugs on your app, 33% said that they will try and reach out to your customer service teams. This is your last chance to retain them. But how are you supporting them? Are you driving to go and find help online, breaking their use of being in your app? Are you breaking that mobile experience? Are you putting up those web forms, those barriers to have them contact you to collect feedback? Or are you having them email you at support@blankcompany.com? If so, you may be adding to even more than that 52% number I referenced earlier. And when your acquisition is so reliant on positive app reviews on the App Store, you can quickly see the cycle that starts here. Let me turn over to Vera to talk a bit more about some app key metrics.
Great. So basically now when we are familiar with the major drivers of app growth, let's look into what metrics drive them, or basically what drives app profit. So let's start with app user acquisition. Basically, this is a metric about customer acquisition cost and the budget required for a user to install an app. There are two major parameters here. The first one is app click-through rate, which means how many times one needs to show a paid ad for an app for a user to click on it and visit the top page of the app, which is basically the sole purpose of paid user acquisition channels. The second one is conversion rate to install rate on store page. Once users are on the store page in App Store, Google Play, what share of them would decide to install the app, which basically adds to the marketing budget. These two factors define whole marketing strategy and the balance between paid and organic traffic. And there is no a single successful app in the store that don't look into them. So another huge part that defines app profit is app lifetime value. This is about how much every single user would spend in the app during the whole app usage. The sole purpose of all product experiments, investigations, and features is to increase app LTV. Now, it is a very complex metric that includes a large number of factors. At the end of the day, it boils down to two major factors. The first one is average revenue per user, which defines how much a single user would pay during his whole usage of the app. Another one is retention rate, which defines how low this usage would be. So the interesting fact about all these metrics is that based on AppFollow research and success cases from our clients, 3 out of 4 of these key metrics are affected by reviews. This means that by replying to reviews, it's like the one of those rare factors that affect both sides of app profit and have a direct influence on app success. Now let's look into these cases and see how it works. The first case I'd like to share is by Playtika, a big player in social games industry. The experiment they did has shown that replying to reviews has a direct influence on conversion to install rate. They took an app that had no review replies history and started to reply up to 70% of reviews with a rating from 1 to 4 stars. As a result, they not merely increased the rating of the app by 0.7 stars, but also increased organic CVR by 15%. To understand how great the result is, think that for every $1 they previously spent on marketing, now they would spend 87 cents. Another investigation was conducted by a AppFollow team. We analyzed the top and featured charts in App Store and Google Play, and as a result, we've seen that to succeed in stores, your app needs to have at least 4-star rating. And in order to achieve bigger results, it's better to aim for at least 4.5 stars. Apps with less than 4-star rating have almost no chances to be featured, and as a result, lose half of their potential organic downloads. And finally, another investigation conducted by AppFollow. We have compared the retention rate of the users who received customer support and who didn't, and noticed that those who have been helped tend to have 30% higher retention rate. It's really impressive taking into consideration that retention rate is one of the hardest metrics to manage. This way, replying to reviews is a perfect way not only to optimize your marketing budget, but also to boost loyalty and increase retention rate for your app. Summing up all these cases, I think the importance of replying to reviews have been put best in Apple Developer Guide, which suggests that asking for ratings and responded reviews is the best way to improve your app's discoverability, encourage downloads, and build rapport with people who use your app. And the cases provided prove them right with data.
Great. Thanks so much, Vera. We've talked a little bit about reviews now, but what I really am curious about as we shift back to CX topics are a little bit about your organization's goals when it comes to CX. So I'm curious, what are your largest CX objectives today? I saw the poll window come up, so I hope you all can see it too. If everyone can take 20 to 30 seconds here and let us know where your organization stands today. So what are your largest CX objectives? Are they improving CSAT, increasing your customer support capacity, or increase the volume? decreasing support app costs, so cost per ticket, improving time to first response, reducing customer issues or negative app reviews, or improving agent happiness or reducing employee churn. So I think Sarah's controlling this here, so we'll maybe take another 10 or 15 seconds. Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sarah, can you end the poll and share the results with everyone here? Interesting. All right, awesome. So it looks like the number one topic here is reducing customer issues or negative app reviews, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm sure Vera is happy to hear that as well. Improving CSAT is no surprise coming in at number 2, and we'll talk a little bit about how you can kind of create this good circle of positive reviews coming from good CSAT from your customers and engaging them to actually go ahead and write good reviews for you. Great, thanks so much. And this again leads perfectly to our next few slides here. So as I mentioned earlier, putting up barriers between you and your customer is going to create this friction and lead to more potential for these customers to say, you know, forget it and either delete or stop using your app. So there's a few needs that customer support needs for mobile apps. Customer support needs to be in the app. Customers expect easy access to support and low effort to resolve their issues while being able to continue playing games, shopping, or using your app. It needs to be immediate. It needs to communicate in a way that is familiar to them. You know, messaging is the #1 way we communicate today. Customers are used to chat like this with their friends, family, and colleagues. You know, in order to be immediate in your responses, you have to automate and offer self-service options. And you can't leave people hanging in there. You have to give them their time back. You need to be respectful. But more specifically, you know, what does good CX on mobile look like? What are some things we can actually take advantage of and do today? Mobile apps are there to solve a problem. You know, they make completing tasks like shopping or communication or playing games super easy. It's putting all that power right into your pocket. But when it comes to servicing your customers, breaking the journey or putting up walls to letting them communicate with you is the worst thing you can do. So like I said just a second ago, I bet all of us here communicate with our family, friends, and colleagues and loved ones via messaging over every other communication method. I know, like, if someone calls me on the phone today, rather than sends me a message, I answer and I'm like, what's wrong is the first thing I say versus, hey, what's going on? You know, like us, your customers are used to that, and creating customer service conversations that mirror that experience and can be started and returned to, as well as always be referenced to, is a requirement. And this journey can be asynchronous, meaning if they start communication with you on your website, they can pick it up, the conversation, in your mobile app right away. This makes this experience feel native to them, just like when we use iMessage or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp today. And now when doing this, you have the ability to be quick with response. The most support-savvy companies receive the customer's message and have the ability to have them self-help and deflect with the first line of defense of FAQs, or frequently asked questions. And then a series potentially of microbots that can replace the antiquated web forms and handle all the probing questions agents normally ask. Or they could even, these microbots can even perform actions and solve the issue without human involvement. Therefore, tickets are created when users need help, and are deflected when customers can help on their own. You know, this enables users to find the right answer on their own before it becomes a ticket. And this can dramatically reduce your own ticket volume. Today's mobile app users have evolving expectations, and your job is to determine what they are and then deliver a carefully personalized experience for each user. You know, aim to understand customers' real-world traits, behaviors, likes, dislikes, activities, where they are at in their journey on your app. How do they prefer to receive product recommendations? How do they contact customer service? Research their channel preference, in-app messaging, text, and push notifications as well. You know, because we're developing these mobile apps, and you know, many of you probably today are working customer service or mobile app development for different applications, there's a ton of information that we have to play with, really a gold mine. You know, some of those things that, because you're servicing them on a mobile application, you'd be able to look at things like, is this a free or a VIP user? service them differently based on their sign-up date. So customers that joined in the last 3 months, maybe you give to a higher priority of queue or preference. Their lifetime value. Can you see what their LTV is to your brand and give them a differentiated experience? Or bi-directional CRM data, because you're using this advanced messaging tool that could live inside your application, you can pull and augment the data with CRM data and give them different journeys through these microbots, dependent on any information that's in your CRM. And again, because this is in mobile, and for example, HelpShift is an SDK, you can access other SDK or mobile data or send them information without actually leaving the application. So this could be things like platform and OS version, in-app metadata, location and language, or developer logs as well. You can also do things like request a screenshot through an app because you're in messaging, or even send them deep links. So teach a customer actually how to service themselves rather than doing it for them. So send them to the page to update the credit card information. Actually have a bot do that is pretty incredible to see. Talking about an example that we have, here's one success story of a joint actually HelpShift and AppFollow customer, Jam City. Jam City is behind some of the highest grossing mobile games of all time, including Cookie Jam, Panda Pop, and Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery, which was the #1 game in more than 40 countries when it launched in 2018. Jam City looked to partner with HelpShift and AppFollow to support the customer's focus on rapid and reliable customer service. They embarked on this transformational support journey, moving from email-only support to in-game self-service and messaging, and which enabled them to quickly scale by deflecting 90% of their support requests that were resolved on their own by their customers. They also improved customer experience by a 100% boost in CSAT compared to the legacy solution. And this speed to resolve and ability to track detailed app info enabled customer feedback data collection and dissemination about game features and updates has accelerated Jam City's time to fix and fine-tune products. So they created that product feedback loop. This not only improved their CX standing, but helped drive higher app store reviews as well. All right, let me pass it off to Vera, and I think we have another poll question.
Great. Hi, everyone, again. So yeah, it's time for a second poll. Now we're gonna talk more about app reviews and hacks. So please let us know what your strategy is. Do you answer 100% of app reviews and try to do it very quickly? Do you reply to most app reviews, but not always straight away? Do you answer some reviews and we would like to know in the comments which you prefer? Or you prefer just not to reply to any of the reviews? Make a choice. And I think we'll give you another couple seconds for votes. And I'm looking forward to see the results. Okay, I think everyone has voted. Hope so. Sarah, could you show us the results? Oh, marvelous. So I see that there are some of you guys who reply 100% of app reviews, and I think this is a really good job. Majority of you guys try to reply to majority of those, but not always. And we still have some of those who don't reply to any reviews, and I hope to show you some examples how you can improve your strategy. At least would like to know why you prefer just not to reply to reviews. Just put this in the chat. And let us move to the next section in which we would share some success cases and tips and hacks how to address App Store reviews for the win. So the first case is about having, and the first, I think, piece of advice is about having a reply strategy. And the first rule of reply strategy is generally just have any type of strategy, which means that, well, you need to analyze what's going on and see what works for your specific app. So the case I'd like to share is the one by a digital bank called Tinkoff. What they did is they started doing experiments with their reply to review strategy at AppFollow platform and analyzing what works for them and what doesn't. And as a result, they figured out what affects their rating positively. And they kind of build this manifest of what works for them. As a result of all these manipulations, they managed to increase app rating to 4.82, which is an impressive result for any type of app. And they also managed to reduce the cost per ticket by 3 times, because now they knew what tickets are worth their attention and how to address them properly. So if you're building a reply strategy, the metrics to track here are reply rate, which means what share of reviews you decide to reply to. It includes not only total rate, which basically how many reviews you reply at all, but also whether you pay special attention to featured ones. These are reviews displayed on store page, and updated reviews. These are reviews by loyal customers who come back to update the review they previously posted. By segmenting your reply to review approach, you equip yourself with more tools to manage, and you get more insights what works for your app. Another important metric here is average rating change, which basically defines whether the users are happy with your replies, and as a result, go back and update the review rating to a larger amount of stars. Another hack is to use auto replies. The peculiarity of mobile reviews is that the communication is done via one single post on store page, which can contain any type of information from short thank you notes to customer support requests. And not all of these reviews require human attention. The case from Bitmonger, Korean casual and puzzle game developer, proves this. Bitmonger introduced auto replies from AppFollow for the most common cases and managed to increase reply rate by 2.3 times in just 3 days. Moreover, with automation introduced, they didn't notice any negativity about it and even witnessed a slow growth of average rating. As a result, this is a win-win situation where Bitmonger managed to help a large amount of customers and focus efforts. So when introducing automation, the key metrics to track are total reply rates, cost per ticket, average reply time, and average fast reply time. Average reply time and average fast reply time tend to be really important since they increase the probability that review rating will be updated in a positive way, which brings us to the next case. This case is from Innovative Connecting Node for Tuber VPN app. So Innovative Connecting used to reply via App Store and Google Play consoles, but unfortunately these two have very basic functionality, which makes it not the best choice for review management. By moving from console to AppFollow, they managed to reply to reviews 50% faster, as well as saved more than 1,000 hours per month of support team effort. Replying quicker also proved to be more efficient, increasing app rating, since users are still in the same context and appreciate quick help. So when you try to improve reply speed, the major KPIs here are average reply time, average fast reply time, cost per ticket, and average rating change with reply. This way you can track both speed and efficiency.
Great. And how does this work together with HelpShift? Well, higher ratings equal faster and higher user growth, right? A joint customer of HelpShift and AppFollow, who are one of the largest and premier mobile gaming developers, shared with us, quote, "When we receive a low review, we proactively reach out to the player via HelpShift to resolve their issue. In doing so, we can often improve the review of our game, which in turn helps us acquire new players." So pretty awesome, changing that negative situation to a positive one and utilizing, obviously in this case, HelpShift and AppFollow. So let's switch gears here to leveraging customer insights. So mobile applications and games are known for their unprecedented customer growth and scale, unlike anything traditionally seen in retail or web commerce. And unlike traditional seasonality peaks and spikes that you'd see around holidays, these can occur with each new app release dozens of times per year. Previously having worked in BPOs and having run customer service for a few different companies, I know how impossible it is to say, hey, let's scale up and ramp our agent for every new app release that comes out or every push that our developers are doing. It's really tough. So staffing up and down agents is not feasible, cost effective, or a smart way to handle these. Mobile apps must take extra steps to reduce the volume of support tickets, to reduce the size and cost of customer support operations if they want to grow rapidly. It's crucial to have the right support and right review management in place even before the launch of a new app or a new release, and plan for those new app versions to avoid what we call a capacity gap. So you'll see in this chart here, a capacity gap during these peak periods. Therefore, support automation is key. For example, you launch your app and face an increased number of bugs experienced by users. Answering fast and detecting the trends is key, not only to instant customer happiness and better app reviews, but also to feed that information fast to engineers, improve your product, and reduce the number of bugs reported in that app experience. You will go through that same cycle at each app release with some bugs that have not been found by your QA teams. These could also occur during, general holidays or events like COVID-19, which I think most of us probably saw a huge spike in our volume, and more through the app's life cycle. Without automation, there's just really no way to keep up with that exponential growth and users' expectations for personalization, speedy answers. There's no way you can do it with your existing resources or budgets if you don't have that scalable technology and automation. You need to be able to flex quickly and respond to changing demand patterns so that we can reduce delays and friction in the help experience. And this will help you maintain an excellent support experience both during planned surges as well as unplanned surges. So on that product feedback loop that I was just talking about, Matt Knapman, the head of support at Hutch, a gaming development company, said on this topic, we are able to spend more time addressing issues with the game itself. We now tag every issue and keep a running list of top 10 product issues and top 10 feature requests that informs our development roadmap and helps us continuously improve improve our game experience. So it's great to see the rapid ability to deliver these insights to the product team and create that feedback loop. That truly shifts the perception of customer service teams from being reactionary to proactive across the organization. Let me hand it back off to Vera here.
Great. So now let's talk a bit about another great power of reviews, which is being a great source of insights for product discovery. The best part of it is that by studying the reviews of your customers and your competitors' apps, you will get access to hundreds, if not thousands, of users from all over the world in just a couple of minutes. So basically, it's like you study the audience of, United States, then you change your mind, want to know what French people think. And it's really quickly, you don't have to arrange anything, and it can get the audience, any audience you like, at any time you like. The major trick here is to know how to find the reviews that are really useful and insightful. And first idea is, I think the best thing you can do is to take advantage of technology and get some help from machine learning engines. Here at AppFollow, we've introduced semantic analysis module, which looks into reviews in more than 20 languages and categorizes them by topic. There's a large choice of topics, including bugs, design feedback, monetization issues, but two most useful for product discovery are app update and feature requests. The great part about semantic is that you can analyze data not only for your app, but also for the app of your competitors, which increases the amount of insights. Right? Now, when you filter the reviews, it's time to look in the content provided. My advice here is to pay special attention to long and updated reviews. The fact that a review has been updated shows that a user already has a history with you, which means that he at least has been activated and spent some time with your app. I find it especially useful to track the history of those updates and figure out what were the reasons for the review to be updated. Has something become better, or maybe vice versa, has something spoiled, so the customer was so irritated that came back to leave a negative review. You can find this info in AppFollow platform, and it provides perfect information for both product and reply strategy. Now let me hand this off to Matt for a demo of Helpshift and AppFollow integration.
Perfect, thank you, Vera, and thank you, Jake. So we're just going to switch screens very quickly. So hey everyone, welcome to the demo part of this webinar. My name is Matt, I work in the solutions consulting team here at Helpshift. And what I'd like to do over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so is take you through some demos to showcase and show in action some of the concepts that have been talked about throughout this webinar so far. So we'll break the demo down into 3 parts. First of all, we'll have a look at what Helpshift could look like in a mobile application and how we can keep our users in our application to get all of the support that they need. So focusing on what the customer experience looks like. In the second part of the demo, we'll see how Helpshift can handle scalabilities and spikes. So one of the things that Jake spoke about was how we plug this customer service capacity gap, and we'll see how Helpshift through its bots and automation can handle that. So the operations and agent experience. And then in the third part of the demo, we'll have a look specifically at the AppFollow and Helpshift integration. So how within Helpshift can we respond to reviews that have found their way into Helpshift from the app stores via AppFollow. Okay, so without further ado, let's go and head into the demo. So a couple of things here. I'm going to leave the main part of the screen over here for now. So this is the HelpShift dashboard. So this is where agents would work. It's also where we configure the HelpShift platform as well. I'm just going to leave this in the main part of the screen here, just because what you're going to see in the moment is an issue get created, and we'll just be able to see the changing state of the issue as the bot and the user start engaging with each other over messaging. We'll see that in a second. So as an agent, I won't need to do anything. Everything's going to be automated for me via HelpShift bots, but we'll just see that issue in there. So over on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see I've got my mobile application. So I've got an iOS device here. It's an iPhone, and I'm just going to take on the persona of a retail customer. So maybe I need to return an item. I've ordered something online, it's turned up, it's not quite right, I want to send it back. So I'm going to go into the app here, and I'm going to navigate through into the menu of the application. And then there's a couple of things here right within the app. I can either go into FAQs, so Jake mentioned these earlier on, so we can embed the Help Center directly into the application, and I can start to navigate through the FAQs, and maybe that gives my answer, which in which case, great, I've been able to self-serve very, very quickly. The other thing that I can do here is go on to Contact Us, and again, that's going to launch HelpShift. So we saw the FAQs a few moments ago. So this now is showing the messaging experience within HelpShift. But the key thing is that this is embedded into your mobile application. So you are keeping your users, your customers, the players, whatever you want to call them, squarely in your mobile application to get all of the support that they need. So because of the asynchronous behavior of messaging within HelpShift, I can refer to all the previous correspondence I've had with the retailer. What I am going to do here is kick off a new conversation. I'm given a greeting message, how can we help? And then I'm served up with this intent classification tree. So I can specify, very, very quick and easy, exactly what it is I need to get support on. Now I can either type my message or I can just have a look through the menu. So yep, I want to return something, and yes, I want to start a return. So just a real easy, frustration-free way for me to specify the support that I need. So I'm going to click on Start a Return here. And what you can just see over here now is that the issue or the conversation has been created in HelpShift, and we can see a bot has replied. You can see as the customer here what the actual response is. So the first thing it's doing, it's just asking me to just clarify and verify who I am. So I'm going to type in my email address. So now, it knows who I am. It knows exactly why I want to get in touch. So it's able then to make integration calls with other business systems, such in this case to retrieve a list of orders. So here's the latest orders. Yep, so this is the one that I'd like to return an item from. It's now presenting me with a list of items. So I'm going to choose the large red mug. The bot is then going to ask me, okay, exactly why it is that you want to return it. So I'm just going to put something like no longer needed. And now the bot has ended the conversation. It's been able to fully resolve the issue. It's just asking me, did we answer all your questions today? I'm going to choose yes. And then I also get the ability as the customer to leave this in the moment feedback straight away, real time. So I'm going to choose here to give it 5 stars, and I could give it some text comments as well if I want to. So that's just a very quick and high level example of how, as a customer, I can go into the mobile application. I can either go and view FAQs or engage in a messaging conversation and ultimately get the resolution that I needed as quickly and easily as possible. Now, I went from start to finish there as the customer all in one go, but there's nothing to have stopped me thinking, okay, I'm going to start this conversation. I then need to maybe go off and do something else. Maybe I've got a meeting I need to go to, and I can come back to this later on and pick up exactly where I left off. So of course, that's just one example of one customer interacting with HelpShift automation. But what if, as a retailer, we had a sudden surge of customer contacts coming into the platform? So we're just going to simulate that now. So what I'm just going to do is just kick that off, and we'll see in just a short moment a number of issues flood into the system. So we're going to launch 150 issues. We'll see those in a second, and we'll see how we're going to get a sudden surge of issues into the system. I'm the only agent logged on to the system. Do I need to respond to 150 tickets? How long is that going to take me? Well, I don't need to, because the automations are going to kick in, and HelpShift is just going to automatically guide the customers through to resolution. So we'll start to see those issues flood through in a second. So just a couple of things to consider here, just whilst we wait for that. That not only through automation are we making sure that we're being efficient. You know, we don't need to scale our human teams to respond to a sudden influx of issues, this customer service capacity gap that Jake spoke about. But also, if we're keeping our customers in-app, it also means they're maybe more likely to stay with us and to, in the case of a retailer, make a purchase. So, you know, for retailers, if they can keep their customers in-app and make a purchase, then, you know, something like a small increase in conversion rate could mean a significant increase to revenue. So what we're seeing now is all these 150 issues flood into the system, and it's 3 different types of issues. It's what's the status of my order? Where is my order? Where's my delivery? It's I want to make a return of an order, and I like to place an order. And of course, customers can ask those 3 different workflows in many different ways. So we can see all of the messages coming in. HelpShift is interpreting the intent. It's therefore saying, okay, because we understand the intent, because we understand the classification, we can make sure we pass this issue to the right resource, such as a bot, to guide the customer through to resolution. So you can see the different colors, and this is sort of the bot responding to the customer, and then the bot waiting for the customer to respond. So I've just clicked on one issue here. So we can see here that the customer has specified what type of issue it is. Okay, they want to return an item. We've passed to the return order bot, which is then asked for the email address. It's asked for the order. It's then asked for the item, and then it's also said, okay, well, why is it you want to return? And just as we were sort of watching this, the customer responded, and it's resolved the issue. And you can start to see over here now that as the customers are starting to get the issue resolutions through interacting with the bot, the 150 issues that we had come in have slowly started to be resolved, and that's why we've gone down to a number of 11. But the key thing here as an agent, I didn't need to do anything. The system is taking care of everything for me through bots and automation. So what does that mean? Well, it means that as an agent, I can focus on some other activities. I can either just focus on the cases that do need me to be involved, so that the higher value cases, for example, or maybe it also leaves me some time to focus on app reviews, which takes us nicely onto the 3rd part of the demo. So here we're going to go into one of the app stores. So here we are in the Google Play App Store, and I can see here I've got a number of reviews, but one of them here is coming from Chris, and he's given our app 3 out of 5 stars, and he's also provided a comment. So what we can go and do in HelpShift is see that because of the AppFollow integration, this review is available for us to respond to within HelpShift. We'll talk more about how we set up the integration in a second. So one of the things I can do now from within HelpShift, where I reply and engage with all of my customers, is I can also reply to these App Store reviews now as well. So, you know, I could use a quick reply, for example, but what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to type the response out. So maybe something like, thanks, Chris, for the review. We'll look into the app crashing issue for you with our team. So I'm just going to type a reply. I'm going to send that back. And so I've effectively just replied to that review from within HelpShift. We'll go back and see whether that's been updated and propagated back through into the Google Play Store in just a second. What I'm just going to do now is go into AppFollow, so we can also see against our app here, we can see we've got that review. So I'm just going to do a quick refresh here. So it looks like it's maybe just taking a moment for that review to propagate through. But what we can just go and have a look at here is, well, where do we actually set up the integration between AppFollow and HelpShift? So let's just go and take a quick look at that. So this particular Google app, it's got 2 integrations, one integration into the Play Store, so it can ingest the reviews, and then it's also got the Helpshift integration as well. So let's just go and have a look at how this has been set up. It's really straightforward. What we need to do is provide AppFollow with the email address of our Helpshift domain, our Helpshift platform, and we can also specify, do we want to only receive specific reviews into Helpshift? Is it only those that are featured, only those that improved or became worse? And also, do we want to be specific about the ratings of reviews that go into Helpshift? The way I have this set up is it's pushing all reviews into Helpshift for me to potentially reply to. So that's the integration. So what I'm just going to do now is go back to the App Store, and I'm just going to do a quick refresh. And there we go. We can see now that this review that Chris posted, I've just replied back from within Helpshift via AppFollow, and we can see that review is now back in the App Store. So just a quick overview of how you can respond to those app reviews via AppFollow from within Helpshift as the agent. So that concludes the demo. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to hand back over to Jake and Vera.
Thanks, Matt. Give me just a second here, and I will do the reshare here. There we go. Awesome. So thanks again, Matt. I think that shows the incredibly easy journey for customers to, seek and receive assistance in the app journey, gain more positive reviews, and ultimately lower the business acquisition cost for companies out there that are facing reviews and having to deal with customer service and talking to their customers. This provides vocal users, or those that are posting in the most public way on your reviews, which is where you're gaining app downloads, a place to let out their frustrations, as well as explain their issue in a safe and private manner, and a fast issue resolution before it escalates to public platforms. If you're finding yourself sitting in this purple section at the bottom, I think it's time to ask yourself, am I creating a frictionless customer journey that promotes clear and efficient communication with our customers? If the answer is no, I'd highly recommend exploring how you can create this mobile experience, or using potentially Helpshift or AppFollow, and see how we can help deliver those to you. Great. On that note, if you are interested in actually learning a bit more about Helpshift, we have an awesome offer for everyone that's been on this webinar today. We have an extended 30-day free trial available for those who want to try out Helpshift and AppFollow and see how we can help with reviews, help with customer support, and help make your journey all the more seamless. And sorry, I should say before I move on, to do that, if you want to take advantage of that, you can email info@helpshift.com, and that would be for either. Just let us know what you're interested in. Also, if you would like to let us know here, you can fill out this poll and let us know if you'd like to hear more from Helpshift or AppFollow, or the both of us. And if you want to hear from none of us, that's okay too. Just you don't have to fill out the poll. So we'll give maybe 10 seconds here before we move on to our Q&A. And I think we have about 5 questions right now, and I can read them off, and Vera and I can go back and forth, or Matt, we can keep you in the wings in case one is for you. If you've already voted on this poll and you have another question, go ahead and ask it now. Let's take another maybe 10 seconds for this. Oh, that's fine. Thanks, Sarah. And I will move on to the Q&A and start bringing up some of these questions here. Give me just a second. So we have the first one from Rashali. There's a question that says, can you discuss cultural differences in regards to users who prefer to, quote, speak to a human versus users who prefer to troubleshoot on their own? I've heard, for example, that Americans prefer to speak to a human agent. Yeah, so I mean, I can maybe take it and see if there's anything else from anyone else on the panel. I'd say, there is a benefit to, and I would say there are maybe some cultural differences in the US where people are used to hitting pounding 0 when they're calling to an IVR to talk to someone. The benefit, I'd say, in keeping people into this kind of automation, or these microbots that can start, are the benefits to a customer before saying getting to an agent when you're using bots are immense. I can speak to a personal example of mine. So I used to lead customer service at MoviePass, and we launched bots. I was actually a customer of Helpshift's we launched bots to just do all the probing questions for customers. And meaning when someone wrote in and said, hey, I lost my card, can you send me a new one? Instead of waiting for a human agent, the bot was able to respond right away and say, hey, you're having an issue with your card. What's your address? What's your email address? When did you lose it? Can you reconfirm your address? And again, where an agent could take 4 or 5 minutes or even longer, you know, as we've all been on chat before, agents are going back and forth with multiple chats. A bot is able to ask all those questions immediate without any delay from a customer. So, and ultimately as well, you can build into your app journey and into your automation journey a way to get to a human agent if you want. Matt showed some awesome demo during the demo, those radial buttons that can come up. If you want to, you can always push that. You can add a button that says, you know, speak to a human. And if someone wants to exit that bot automation journey, they can do so and get to a human. Or you can say, hey, you know, these are the steps we'd want to have answered before you move on to there. Any other?
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, just one more thing I would like to add is that generally when user contacts you, he just wants his issue to be solved. And at this point, it doesn't really matter whether it's a robot or it's a person. And it's like a point of second or third or fifth priority for them. So as long as they're helped, they don't really worry much whether it's a bot or whether it's a real person. And I'd say it might differ a little bit culturally, but I think it's more when the more people are used to technology in the country, so the more technological it is, the more they're used and have this trust into robots, and the less technological it is, you know, it's just too new for them. But the good part about it is they don't have to know, and it you know, like bots and auto replies not necessarily have to look like their robot. They can look very, very human-like, and I think this solves the whole issue.
Great. You know, Vera, let me ask you this. Is it a good practice to add our contact email ID in every reply to a customer's user reviews for continuing the conversation or support?
So I think that, well, no, right? Because I think if you can solve the issue right away, it's better not to redirect or add more frictions to this already stressful process for a user. And another thing is that if you can help one person, then another person who can go in the same review process, they might see that review and see the solution there. So this is good for them to know they wouldn't post this negative review, and this would decrease the load for customer support team, right? And again, it's always good for all customers to see that you're listening to your customers and replying to their issues, not just redirecting some of them. On the other hand, there are some cases when you prefer to redirect some more touchy points, like, for example, if a person is asking for a refund, you probably wouldn't want to discuss it in public details. So if it's very, very negative case, or you already see that it's a complex case which will require a lot of reiteration, you might send it to email, but I would definitely do this for a limited amount of reviews, for like 20% maximum, I'd say.
Got it. For Vera, again, I see the questions, I see reviews appear as answered by AppFollow. Can we change that to say answered by my company name?
Right, Gabriel, I think you're seeing this in AppFollow system. So it's put there to differ, either it's replied from AppFollow or it's replied from console for troubleshooting. So it wouldn't be an issue. It's not displayed on App Store, Google Play. It's just there for, you know, for technical issues. So in case you like, did I reply to that review? Who did it? At least you can say like whether it was console reply or it was replied from the system.
Got it. Thanks. Someone else asked, and I can maybe take this one. How easy is it to set up, or maybe push the Matt too? How easy is it to set up bots that we are using? Is it using AI and NLP? So the bots are really easy to set up, and they can actually be fired or triggered, I should say, through automations based off of AI or NLP through HelpShift. So we have a way to train an AI model that can actually determine intent and determine what the customer is actually saying, and therefore fire an automation and say, hey, this is about a refund request. Let's put them through this bot, these bot steps for refund requests. As I said earlier as well, you're able to augment this data through a ton of different factors, whether it's app data, CRM data, API data. So you can actually branch their conversations based on a ton of different data. Whereas if you start out from an AI model, you can actually say, okay, now let's look at these factors and these metrics based on this customer information. So the type of user they are, what country that they're in, what language that they speak, and bring them on this more defined path to get them where you need to be. So you can start very broad, get an understanding of intent, and go from there. Matt, do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, so as you said, Jake, it's really about using AI at the very, very top or a very, very start of the issue to understand, well, exactly what it is that the customer is getting in contact about with a really high degree of accuracy, so that then we can route it to the right bot or to the right agent to get it resolved as quick and easily as possible. So, you know, our bots in Helpshift are very process driven, because that lends itself very well to guiding customers down very routine type processes, like the return example that I did. And what that also means is we're not trying to use AI at every point of the conversation, which you're just going to lose accuracy. So make it really highly accurate at the start, and then pass off to a bot to guide the user through.
I was going to say, one thing that we do have is we have AnswerBot built into Helpshift, which is another way we're using AI and NLP to understand what customers are asking, and try to present to them up to 3 relevant FAQ articles that come from your knowledge base. And that's, you know, obviously deflection at the top end to guide users back to those relevant FAQ articles that you have before moving on to the next step and trying to just additionally resolve their problem and give them the right tools or resources. Vera, you may know the answer to this. How much weight is given for user reviews by the ASO algorithm in the app rank calculation in the Google Play Store? It's way above my head, but maybe you have the answer to that.
Well, the information I can give you is that the Google Store is not public about how its app ranking calculation works, so that we're not manipulating it. But what we know for sure, and we see it from cases from our clients, is that by replying to reviews, you increase the rating, and our rating affects the ISO calculation. And by replying to reviews, you increase the conversion rate for 2 reasons: because you have higher rating, and because the users see that this is something they can trust. It's not like some random app, but it's something who have support system, who have a voice. So it makes your app a little bit more human, and they trust you, and they trust you that much they can install your app. So we cannot tell directly, like Google Play doesn't state directly that it affects. We know from practice and as a result from metrics that it does.
Great. Hey, Matt, you may know the answer to this one. Do you have any experience with medical apps to classify replies of a simple issue that can be handled by a bot versus a response that will need a trained agent involvement, since it can impact the health of a user and is obviously pretty sensitive?
Yeah, so I think if I've understood the question correctly, yeah, actually working with a potential new customer at the moment who works in the medical space, and when the user types in there the reason why they're getting in touch through our AI engine, if, for example, we recognize that what they're typing is an urgent medical issue, like they're typed, you know, I have a really bad headache, then obviously what we're not going to do is route that through to a bot, because that's not appropriate. We route it through to an agent with a high degree of priority. So yeah, we do have experience of saying, well, if we know with a high degree of accuracy why someone is getting in touch through the AI, then we can make sure it goes to the most appropriate place, which is obviously, you know, really pertinent towards a, you know, an urgent medical case.
Awesome. Another question came up. If a company doesn't have enough manpower to service a chat experience 24/7, meaning there's possibly a 12 to 14 hour time frame when there's no service rep working, could an in-app chat option possibly hurt the user's experience since they're waiting too long for an answer, assuming they've opted to speak to a representative? I mean, I can maybe pass this up to Matt in a second, but speaking from personal experience and having run customer service at MoviePass or other companies where we definitely didn't have a 24/7, we didn't have agents available overnight, I still found the automation and allowing customers to actually send in issues and messages at any time of the day still really powerful. One, because in Helpshift, you're able to deflect and have AnswerBot fire off first. So you're able to maybe even solve their problem up front versus saying, hey, contact us out during business hours, and they have to wait, and then they send a message in tomorrow morning and it sends them the the FAQ and they're like, oh, my problem's solved. Secondarily, because of how fast the bot can interact with the customer and asking those probing questions and potentially resolve if you have API set up to actually solve the customer's problem, send them a forgot password reset request, or ask all those probing questions, maybe the 15 up front to try and find out what the problem is, send them resources. I think it's really valuable. Second, or additionally on top of that, because this is mobile oftentimes on HelpShift, and because you can embed this in your mobile app, when an agent responds, they'll get a push notification that an agent has replied to the message. So you can think of it like, hey, I've gone through and answered all the probing questions, those tier 0 questions or tier 1 questions that an agent would have because you've built out automations to do so. And now when an agent is available, they'll get back to me. Anything else to add, Matt, on that?
I think, as you say, it's about, setting that expectation that, okay, we've maybe guided you through a bot, not quite been able to resolve it, but get some of the way there, and set an expectation that, it's not a 24/7 operation, but an agent will get back to you first thing in the morning. I think that setting that expectation is important. Like you say, they'll get a notification when the agent does pick that up. But I think obviously the nice thing with asynchronous messaging is that the customer, the user, can walk away and just pick it back up in the morning when the agent's responded. It's not like they think, right, I'm going to be disconnected and I've got to repeat everything I've gone through again. So I think as long as we're setting the expectation to customers that someone will respond and there's nothing they further need to do, then I think that's all good.
Great. Vera, maybe you know the answer to this. How do you keep users engaged, even though the concerns potentially is a bug on the developer side that could take months to fix?
Right. Well, I'd say that we should remember that when users are writing to us, they not only want the issue to be solved, they also want to be heard. And well, if you know that it will be solved quickly, just tell it will solve quickly. If it doesn't, just say that, well, yeah, we totally understand the issue. It was handed to the product team and we'll come back to you once it's solved. And probably users would forget about it, to be honest, because probably your app doesn't play that huge role in their life. And in case the issue is in roadmap that far away, it's probably a really minor issue. Otherwise, you probably would have it earlier. So it's just reply to them, let them know they're heard, and let them know that you handled the issue further, so that at least they're not angry at you that you're ignoring them and ignoring the issue.
Great. For Matt, there was a feature of HelpShift sending a push notification requesting app ratings during HelpShift. The question is, can we no longer do that due to Apple rating regulations?
That's certainly my understanding. Yeah, that Apple doesn't allow you to do that. So it's not something you do. You can still ask. An agent can ask the customer or the gamer for a review, but I don't think it's not something that you can proactively sort of push out. Can you do an app review anymore? Is my understanding.
Got it. I think we have time for maybe one more question. A question from Evan says, should we be starting an active conversation within the stores in regards to the app, to the review responses? Is that something we should avoid and try to just get directly to the point to resolve their review? Vera?
Well, as far as I understand, the question is, my recommendation, if you know the issue, know the solution, just go directly to resolution, because well, when you do it via a store review, it's not done simultaneously. So all this ping pong of questions can take a lot of time. So if you can just help them directly, help them. If you need more time and you need more details, it's okay to ask for more details, because this way the users also see they actually want to help them. And that's my answer.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. We're just finishing up and we're wrapping up just on time, which is always awesome to see. Sarah, Matt, Vera, I think it was great talking to you all. I hope we were able to answer everyone else's questions. That was great. We had a lot of questions. I know there were some chats coming in throughout, and if we weren't able to get up to all those, please feel free to reach out to us afterwards. And again, as we mentioned, We have an extended free trial of both HelpShift and AppFollow available to any attendees that were here today. So if you'd like to take advantage of that 30-day trial, you can email info@helpshift.com. Let them know you're part of the webinar today, and we'll get you signed up. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks,
everyone. Cheers.
Thanks, Vera.
Bye. Bye.